Hello everyone, so today we're going to go over section 6.6, applying fraction operations. So we will be applying the order of operations to solve problems involving fractions, and once again that is brackets and then exponents, dividing and multiplying in order from left to right, and then adding and subtracting in order from left to right. And we usually use the mnemonic device, BADMAS, to help us remember the order of operations. So let's look at some examples. Okay, so here we have 2 divided by a quarter plus 3 times 1/2. And so there are no brackets or parentheses, and there are no exponents. So the first step is to divide in this case. So we have 2 divided by 1/4. So instead of dividing, we will simply multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4 over 1. And then we have plus 3 times 1/2, the rest of the question. Okay, so in this case, 2 times 4, of course, is 8. So we're left with 8 plus 3 times 1/2. So next operation to be completed is, of course, 3 times 1/2. Which, of course, is 3/2. So we have 8 plus 3/2. Which means we can, of course, and add these together as the final step. And that will give us, let's see, 8 and 3/2, which of course can be rewritten as a mixed number 9 and 1/2. And that will be our final answer. Okay, so next example, 1b. We do have parentheses in this case, so the first step is to subtract 13 and 2. So that will give us 1/3 to the second power, or 1/2, sorry, or 1/3 squared times 11 minus 5 over 6. Next step then is the exponent. So that would be the 1/2 squared. Just going to write this to the side. 1/3 squared. 1/3 squared, of course, is 1/3 times 1/3. Which will give us 1 over 9. So here we will have 1 over 9 times 11 minus 5 over 6. So from there, the next step is to multiply 1 over 9 and 11, which will give us 11 over 9 minus 5 over 6, which will be the last step. So in this case, in order to subtract, we need to have common denominators. So the common denominator that we can use is 18. So we can rewrite 11 over 9 as 22 over 18. And then 5 over 6 is 15 over 18. And that will give us a difference of 7 over 18. So quick side note here, of course, what we did is we multiply the first fraction by 2 over 2 and the second fraction by 3 over 3 to get the common denominator of 18 for both fractions, and then we subtract it afterwards. Okay, so let's look at example 1c. Again, we do have parentheses, so the first step is to add these two mixed numbers. Okay, so fortunately in this case, the two fractions have the same denominator, and if we add them together, it will actually simplify to just be 3. So that's the first step. And the second step is to divide these two. So of course, when dividing, we're going to rewrite the mixed number 2¼ to be 9/4. And then rewrite the division question as multiplying by the reciprocal of 3 in this case, which gives us 9/4 times 1/3, or 1/3. This simplifies a little bit, so 3 and 1. So finally, the answer, write the thirds. Oh, that's okay, actually. Sorry about that. 3 times 1 is 3, and 4 times 1 is 4. So this would just be 3/4 is the final answer in that case. Okay, so next up we'll look at a couple of word problems. First one, Beth earns $25 per hour as a machine operator at a sawmill. For time work about 40 hours in the week. She earns time and a half. What does Beth earn for working 46 hours in 1 week? Okay. So, hours over 40 is equal to, for 6 hours. So one way to write out the equation for Beth's pay is to have the following: 40 hours at $25 an hour plus 6 hours at $25 per hour times, of course, time and a half means we multiply by 1 and 1/2. So this looks to be a order of operation question. In this case, we'll start by multiplying. So you're going to use an underline instead. So we have first 40 times 25, which is equal to 1,000. So this will be 1,000. Plus, and then 6 times 25 times 1.5. So the next operation to be completed is going to be 6 times 25. So 6 times 25 is going to give us 150 multiplied by 1.5. So the next step then afterwards is to multiply 150 by 1.5. Okay, gonna go ahead and rewrite 1.5 as a improper fraction. So that will be 3/2. Okay. It's gonna continue. Actually, in this case, we can simplify a little bit. We have 150 and 2, so that can be simplified to 75 and 1. So moving on. Oh, and surely the next step is to multiply these two. Oh, right, we're already multiplying those together. We're just simplifying here. So 75 times 3 is going to be 225. And of course, the final operation is to add the two numbers together. So we have the pay for Bev for the week will be $1,225 for 46 hours. Okay. So one more. Ron earns $15 per hour as a security guard for time work about 35 hours in 1 week. Again, he earns time and a third. Interesting. How much does Ron earn working 41 hours in 1 week. So, similar kind of setup. I'm gonna use the same color for the entire question. So we have $15 for the first 35 hours worked, and then it'll be $15 times the 6 hours, and that is because we have 41 minus 35 is equal to 6. So that's the number of hours above 35 that Ron worked, and that will be multiplied by 1 1/3. Very similar to the previous question, 15 times 35 is 525. So that's the first operation to be completed, and then from there, we have 15 times 6, which is 90. And instead of 1 1/3, we're going to rewrite that as in proper fraction, 4/3. Okay, and of course that allows us to simplify things a little bit here. 90 and the 3 can be simplified to 30 and 1. And if we can multiply those together, that will give us 525 for the first part, and then 30 times 4 is 120, and that adds together to give a total pay of $645. Okay, so that is an overview on the order operations with fractions, following brackets and parentheses, and then exponents, dividing and multiplying in order from left to right, and then adding, subtracting once again in order from left to right. And that's it for today, so thank you for listening.